Alpine are all over the place at the moment. If you've watched any of our recent videos on the mass sackings and the team's underperformance, you'll know that their upper management are to blame. I'm talking about board of directors level decisions. Otmar Szafnauer made mistakes, but he isn't the one to blame for them being 6th in the constructors' standings. Fortunately, change could be on the way. What's the major shake-up that could be happening at Alpine? Well, you'll have to stick around to find out. Alpine's decision to sack team principal Otmar Szafnauer and sporting director Alpine on the Friday of the Belgian Grand Prix was absolute madness on the most basic level. But the further you dig and the more layers you look at, the crazier it gets. Why would you announce the firing of them both on the Friday of a race weekend and expect them to work for the rest of the weekend? Why would you not just wait till Monday and the start of the summer break? With Pat Fry leaving for Williams on the same weekend, perhaps knowing that the team are a mess internally, Alpine have a dearth of experienced senior leadership figures, and it's showing. Formula One is a different beast to any other motorsport, and if you're going to take a management role in this sport, you need to know Formula One. Take a look at the recent example of Jos Capito, a savant of the World Rally Championship. When he took on the role of CEO at Williams, he had just a few years of experience in the Formula One world at McLaren. Despite an incredible winning record in rally, he couldn't help Williams improve and was eventually replaced by James Vowles, who seems to be helping the team find some form. Bruno Famin, the current interim team principal / CEO, and Laurent Rossi, who has now been fired, don't know Formula One. I'm sure they're excellent businessmen or project managers, but they don't know Formula One, and it's showing. Rossi's replacement, former Alfa Romeo technical director and Ferrari engineering boss Felipe Krief, who joined Alpine in early March, is probably a step in the right direction. But if he's surrounded by corporate busybodies, not people experienced in Formula One, then he's just going to be a drop of water in a very empty pint glass. He alone isn't going to quench the French team's thirst for a title. Giving his side of the story, Otmar Szafnauer explained how the management at Renault were too interfering. The parent company wanted to have a lot of control in a lot of areas of the racing team, he said. More than I've ever seen before. You know, the commercial area, the marketing area, HR, finance, communication. All that stuff reported not to me, but around me, to somebody else in the bigger organization. And they all act like a navy, and we have to be pirates in order to win. Otmar went on to say why having the corporate structure above him interfering with everything was bad for the team. You can convince yourself that, oh yeah, that's okay. It's okay that HR doesn't report through the team principal. It's not okay. It's not okay at all, because if you're gonna hire somebody, you've got to get a contract out within a day, because that's what we do in Formula One. You can't take 2 weeks. If it takes you 2 weeks, maybe that special hire went somewhere else. You've got to be pirates. Whether his point about HR was a subtle comment about Fernando Alonso and Oscar Piastri slipping through the team's fingers, we'll never know. But change is obviously needed at the team. They need a big shake-up, something that will alter the mindset of the team from top to bottom, something that will bring in fresh faces across the board. People who really know what racing and Formula One is about. It probably isn't the change you're expecting either. Reports from across the sport are saying that Alpine could be on their way out of Formula One. The hire and fire style the team has adopted in the last few seasons is a symptom of overinflated expectations and a desperation to meet those goals. It hasn't made the progress it would have liked to 2.5 years on from Renault rebranding the team to Alpine, nor 8 seasons on from Renault returning to F1 in 2016. And if you think that Alpine leaving the sport is completely ridiculous, well, it isn't exactly the first time that they've bailed. Renault returned in 2016, having sold the majority of the team at the end of 2010, when its championship-winning years with Fernando Alonso were firmly in the rearview mirror, and its F1 presence was tarnished by the 2008 Singapore Grand Prix scandal. It also abandoned F1 in the mid-1980s as a works team before returning for its second stint in 2002. With Formula One teams at an all-time higher value, they could pick a worse time to sell up and leave. Considering they bought the team for £1 in 2016, and Forbes recently valued them at roughly £1.1 billion, they would be making approximately £1,999,999,999 worth of profit, if my maths is correct. Not bad really. With F1 teams' value reaching new heights, it's easy to imagine Alpine deciding it's better off getting some of its money back, rather than investing more only to fail to meet their own expectations year after year. Alpine's current moves are mirroring those of the Toyota Formula One team, just before they left the sport in 2009 as well. Former driver Karen Chandhok sees Alpine going the exact same way as Toyota. Where my concern comes in is, are they going to be bringing in more management and more people from outside of motorsport, outside of Formula One? Already, if you look at the people who are in the planning departments, for example at Enstone and things like that, they brought them in from the road car industry. And you do wonder now with Renault Corporate maybe taking a stronger hold in terms of running that team. Is it going a bit like Toyota from 20 years ago? Is it going down a sort of non-F1 way and sort of going down the corporate way, which I'm not convinced is going to work? Former Renault team boss Cyril Abitbol was one of the first victims of Alpine's changing corporate structure. He wonders if there's a clash of interests between the team and the parent company Renault. There has to be someone high up at the top of the company who also has the vision, he said. He also has to think, we have to win at all costs. Red Bull had that with Mateschitz and his legacy maintains it. Aston Martin has that with Lawrence Stroll. Mercedes succeed despite the corporate structure. They have set it up in such a way that Mercedes F1 management can win. The point is not that there is a battle between the makers of the cars and those who don't, but that there is someone at the top of the company who wants to win at all costs. That is necessary to be successful, especially in Formula One. Alpine wants to win, but they don't want to go through the process. They don't want to pay the cost of years of work. They don't want to wait the 100 races that they originally gave Otmar to make them into a race-winning team. Until Alpine changes their ways, until the board back out and let people who know the sport do their jobs, senior staff will continue to come and go, and results will continue to evade them. If they choose to sell, it isn't like there is a lack of willing buyers at the moment. On average, Formula One's 10 teams are worth $1.88 billion, according to Forbes estimates, an incredible 276% increase from the $500 million average when Forbes last valued the series teams in 2019. There are a number of reasons for this, including the cost cap, drive to survive, increasing popularity, increased focus on environmentally friendly vehicles, and a realigning of the sport's tech with production cars. This has driven demand for teams sky high, with bids of over $1 billion for teams being turned down in the last year alone. Andretti Autosport was recently told by Red Bull's Helmut Marko that the only way to get into the sport was by buying a team. Marko even went as far as saying that Alpine were the team to buy. Perhaps he just saw what was coming before anyone else. With staff being fired left and right, no one at the team is going to feel safe in their jobs. Naomi Schiff recently said, "I can't imagine that anyone at Alpine right now is feeling very relaxed or very safe in their positions," Schiff told Sky F1. I mean, even the news of Laurent Rossi came as somewhat of a surprise, at least to those of us in the paddock, and then to hear this information as well. So it's going to be very destabilizing for the team, particularly in the fact that all of this is happening mid-season, at a time where the team isn't moving forwards at the moment. Everyone at Alpine will be dusting off their CVs at the moment, getting ready to pounce on any role they can find on the grid. Pierre Gasly and Esteban Ocon will be looking at where they can go this winter to get a more stable drive next season. If Alpine have any sense, they'll look to sell the team now, while it still has its value, and while a team can still come in and get ready for 2026. Coming back in 2024 and performing even worse will just decrease the value of the team, and give whoever buys them a year less to prepare for the new regs. If I were on the Alpine board, I'd be flying to America tomorrow morning with the keys to the Enstone factory and asking Andretti for a big fat check. Do you think Alpine is on the way out of the sport? Or will they persist with a plan that's clearly not working? Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below, and until next time, drive safe and bye for now.